protein time.
No peeking. I'm gonna remove my mask so you guys can actually hear me. We're gonna go over how to use this here low bar because I get a lot of questions about it, and we're gonna be adding a ton of strict pull-up work as extra work, kind of like the old pull-up challenge, but different. So let's go over how to use this thing. First of all, how high do you put it? Well, that depends. Okay? She has set it up so that if she's very much a beginner, she just needs to be able to reach the thing when her butt is gently touching the ground. She can't have it so low that her arms would have to bend like this. She needs to set it up so that her arms are straight when she's just barely touching the ground. Then, her goal is to keep her shoulders and hips in line with each other. So as she pulls up, she has to fight to keep her hips in line with this, or you can use this as a reference as well. What most of you do is you pull and let your hips go completely forward and you end up in a rowing position. That doesn't simulate pull-ups exactly, so you don't want to do that. You can bring your feet closer if you keep having that problem, so that you really fight for where your hips are, and that'll help you keep it closer. If you feel like this is too easy, then we can raise the pull-up bar up a little bit. And I would make sure that you don't ever raise it higher than you are tall, because if you're using your legs for assistance, you need to be able to touch the ground. So, for her, she's not that tall, guys. Is this too tall? Alright, so then she can make this harder by putting her toenails on the ground. So she literally is on her toenails. So she's not resting on the balls of her feet, she's on her toenails. Does that feel comfortable?
Not at all.
No. So then when she goes to pull, she's only going to put so much pressure through those toenails, and that will make it harder. If that's still too easy, when I mean easy, like you could do 10 or so reps, no problem, that's too easy. Put a box in front of her. She's going to put her feet up on the box. She has to have the box close enough still to keep her hips in line, and then she's going to do it. Boom. Is that harder? Yes. And I actually find that the closer you put the box, the harder it is. Because she's going to have to bend her knees now, so she's putting even more weight into her arms to do the pulling. Is that harder? And then you are in control of how much weight you put through your feet. So when people tell me it's too easy, you're in control. You reduce the amount of pressure through your feet, and then it will make it much harder. So that is how you use the low bar. Okay. All right, we're going to go over band usage. We don't use these in class, and we're not going to use them in class. But as you're working on getting your first strict pull-up, these are actually really helpful if you use them as they're intended. And they're intended for you to get off of them. So you have to go down in assistance level very incrementally so that you can get off of them. So if you see these three bands, I'll put them up closer. See how thick this dude is compared to this dude? That means this one's giving you more help than this one. And of course, this is the smallest one. It's not only isn't as thick, it isn't as wide. So choose the band, mark it in your little beyond the whiteboard thing, and then you'll know what you've been using. And sometimes you have to use two. When I started, the band is still here somewhere, but it literally was this wide. No lie. It was that wide, and that's what I started on. So you might have to double these up, and you just make a note, okay? So even like, if I double, let's say I'm gonna double these guys up. One step down would actually be to double up a red, because the black is much more help than the red. Right? So then I would go to a double red, and then maybe I'd get rid of that and go to a red and an orange, and then eventually I'd get to the red alone, and then I would go to the orange. All right? That's basic. You through how to do this, because I know a lot of you have never done it. Here, I'll get us a little bit closer. So, she has the band.
All right, guys, so I'm going to have this band. I'm going to loop it just one side, bring it down, and then the other end is going to go in. And there you have it.
Boom. Nice and snug.
Nice and snug onto the rig.
And then she always uses a box to get to the band. I don't care how tall you are.
Yes.
It really sucks when the band pulls your feet out from underneath you and you end up flat on your back.
Yes, it does.
All right, so when she goes to get into the band, she puts a hand up onto the bar before she steps off. That might seem common sense, but I've seen people step off without holding onto the bar. And then the band is on one foot, and she pulls straight up, just like a regular pull-up. I don't like 2 feet in because if you need to get out quickly or trapped, if the band has a tendency to slip off of your foot, make sure it's in that sort of arch spot to pin it, or you could use your other foot to pin it around. So you could use your free leg to sort of pin it onto your body. Either one of those would be fine. And then if you needed to use 2 bands, you would just do the exact same thing. You just have 2 bands. So she would still do the loop-de-loop. You could loop them together or side by side, and she just holds both.
Oh yeah. I can do 30 like this, guys.
Yay. All right, so that's how to use bands. When we start doing some extra strict pull-up work, you guys are welcome to use the bands so long as you're getting off of them.